Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's get straight to it. You're likely thinking about an MBA, maybe looking to really boost your career, find some efficiency.
Yeah, it's a common goal.
Mm.
And usually people think US, UK, maybe somewhere in Europe.
Right, the usual suspects. But today we're looking somewhere a bit different, potentially a real strategic advantage.
Exactly. We're focusing on Japan today, specifically the International MBA program at Tokyo International University, or TIU, and crucially, it's taught in English.
Okay, good to know. So the idea here is to give you a quick, solid overview, right? Help you figure out if this TIU MBA in Japan could actually be, the right move for you.
That's the plan. Give you the core info you need to make an initial assessment.
So why Japan then? What's the draw and why TIU specifically?
Well, one of the big pulls is getting what you might call an Asian view on international business. It's often a different perspective, maybe more focus on long-term relationships, collaboration.
Interesting. A different angle from the typical Western business school model.
Precisely. And TIU itself, it's well regarded within Japan for business education. They've got international faculty, which is key, and importantly, really strong ties to Japanese industry.
Industry connections, okay. That always sounds promising. That means real-world opportunities, networking.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Japan is home base for so many huge multinational corporations. Toyota, Sony, SoftBank, the list goes on.
Yeah, household names globally.
So being there, studying there, puts you right in that ecosystem. The networking chances are significant, and you get a direct feel for how these global giants operate from a Japanese base.
And it presumably opens doors career-wise,
Right.
both in Japan and maybe elsewhere.
Definitely. There are opportunities within Japan's own dynamic economy, especially in areas like consulting, finance, tech, but it also gives you a unique edge internationally.
Okay, makes sense. Now, something that's always a factor,
Yeah.
the cost. How does Japan and TIU stack up?
Yes. This is actually a pretty big advantage. Compared to similar level MBA programs in, say, the US or the UK, the tuition fees in Japan and at TIU tend to be, well, significantly more affordable.
Really? That could be a game changer for a lot of people.
It often is. It makes a high-quality international MBA potentially much more accessible financially.
Okay, so let's dive into the TIU MBA program itself then. What's the structure? What are you actually signing up for?
Right. So it's a 2-year program, full-time, and like we said, importantly, it's all taught in English. No Japanese language prerequisite for the coursework itself.
2 years, full-time English. Got it.
Mhm.
What's the focus? What kind of areas do they emphasize?
The core curriculum really hits key areas for modern business. You're looking at global business strategy, leadership and organizational behavior, innovation, and navigating global markets effectively.
Sounds pretty comprehensive. And it's a recognized degree, obviously. Good connections.
Yes, it's a globally recognized certification. And those corporate connections we talked about, they're woven into the program too.
So what does that look like day to day or course to course? Any examples?
Sure. Core courses would include things like international business strategy, definitely leadership and organizational behavior. Then you've got the quantitative side, financial management, business analytics, even AI integration is coming in now.
AI integration. Okay, keeping it current.
Yeah, and digital marketing for global markets is another big one. Then beyond the core, you can sort of specialize a bit with electives.
Like what kind of electives?
Well, they offer things like entrepreneurship and startups, if that's your interest, or you could dive deeper into the Japanese business and economy specifically. Sustainable management practices is another relevant option.
And you mentioned industry exposure earlier. How does that work?
That's a key part. TIU actively facilitates internships and industry projects through partnerships they have with various Japanese companies. So you get that practical, hands-on experience.
Okay, that paints a clearer picture of the program itself. Let's shift to the practicalities. Getting in. What are the typical admission requirements?
Generally, you'll need a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. You'll also need to prove your English proficiency if you're not a native speaker. So, scores from tests like TOEFL or IELTS are usually required.
What about work experience? Is that a must?
It's often preferred, adds weight to your application, but it's not always a strict mandatory requirement like some other top-tier programs. It depends.
Okay. And the application process itself? Standard stuff.
Pretty standard, yeah. Usually an online application form, you'll need your academic transcripts, a statement of purpose explaining your goals and why TIU.
Letters of recommendation.
Yep, letters of recommendation. Sometimes an interview, either online or in person, might be part of the process too. And then, of course, for international students, there's the whole visa application process once you're accepted.
Right, the visa hurdle.
hmm
Okay, let's circle back to cost, but maybe with some more concrete numbers. You said affordable, but what's the ballpark?
Okay, so tuition fees per year. You're probably looking somewhere in the range of, say, 1.2 to 1.5 million Japanese yen.
1.2 to 1.5 million JPY per year. And living costs. Tokyo's not exactly known for being cheap.
True, Tokyo has a reputation, but it can be managed. Accommodation might run you maybe 50,000 to 100,000 yen per month, depending on the type and location. Food, transportation, other daily expenses, maybe another 40,000 to 70,000 yen a month.
So if you add that all up annually,
Your total estimated costs for a year, tuition plus living, could land somewhere between, let's say, 1.5 and 2.5 million yen, which, again, compared to the total cost in many Western countries, is quite competitive.
definitely. And are there ways to bring that cost down? Scholarships, financial aid.
Yes, absolutely. TIU itself offers merit-based scholarships, which can cover up to 50% of the tuition fees. That's a significant reduction.
Half the tuition, wow.
Yeah, and then there are external options, too. The Japanese government offers the MEXT scholarship, which is quite comprehensive, covers tuition, living stipend, travel. There's also the JSO International Student Scholarship, so there are avenues for financial support.
Good to know those options exist. So fast forward 2 years. You've got the TIU MBA. What happens next? What are the career prospects like?
The outcomes look pretty strong, actually. The data shows around 83% of graduates find employment within 6 months of finishing the program.
83% within 6 months? That's a solid number. Which industries are hiring them?
The top hiring sectors tend to be finance, that accounts for about 30% of graduates. Then consulting, around 25%, and IT and tech is big too, maybe 20%.
Finance, consulting, tech, the classic MBA destinations. And salary-wise, what's a typical starting point?
The average post-MBA starting salary is reported to be around 7 million Japanese yen per year.
Okay, 7 million JPY.
Yeah.
And can you give us examples of companies where TIU MBA grads end up?
Sure, you see them at major financial institutions like Nomura, Mitsubishi UFJ, even global players like Goldman Sachs in Japan. In tech and commerce, think Rakuten, SoftBank, IBM Japan. And in consulting, names like Deloitte, McKinsey, Accenture Japan pop up.
So really top-tier firms across different sectors. That speaks well of the program's reputation.
It does. It shows that companies value the skills and perspectives graduates bring from TIU.
Now, sometimes hearing directly from faculty or seeing real examples helps. Any insights like that for TIU?
Yeah, there are a couple of points from faculty often highlighted. Dr. Yoshinori Fujikawa talks about the unique Japanese management concepts you get exposed to alongside those deep industry connections.
Right, leveraging the local context.
Exactly. And Dr. Philip Sugai often emphasizes how the program helps graduates understand and really leverage the growth happening in emerging Asia for global competitive advantage. It's about positioning.
Makes sense. Any student stories that stand out?
Well, there are examples often shared through support services like LetzStudy, which helps international students. People like Shantakumar, who apparently overcame financial worries thanks to scholarship support, or Rajath, who found the guidance helpful for navigating the admissions maze.
And Yasha's SK.
Yeah, that story highlights the practical support help with the visa process, finding accommodation, which can be daunting when you're moving to a new country. It shows there's a support structure there.
Which is important because obviously moving abroad for an MBA, especially to a place culturally different like Japan, isn't going to be without its hurdles.
Absolutely not. There are challenges to be aware of. You've got the cultural adjustment, obviously,
Yeah.
the language barrier outside the classroom, even if classes are in English. Tokyo's cost of living, while maybe cheaper than London for tuition, is still high.
Competition in the job market too, I imagine, even with an MBA.
For sure. Understanding the nuances of the Japanese job market is key. Visa regulations for working after graduation can be complex, and of course, the academic program itself will be rigorous.
So any quick tips on how prospective students can manage these potential challenges?
Experts usually advise some key things. Solid financial planning beforehand is crucial. Trying to learn at least basic Japanese phrases makes daily life much easier and shows respect.
Networking.
Definitely. Actively building connections from day one, making full use of the university's career services, they understand the local market, and really focusing on getting relevant internships during the program. That practical experience is invaluable.
Okay, so pulling all this together,
Yeah.
what's the bottom line on the TIU MBA?
Well, I think it presents a really interesting, potentially powerful option. If you're looking for an international MBA, you get that valuable Asian business perspective, strong career prospects linked to Japan's economy and global companies, all at a comparatively more accessible price point than many Western programs.
A unique blend of factors then. So the final thought for you, our listener, is this. Considering your own career path, your ambitions, and the unique opportunities Japan offers,
Yeah.
could this deep dive into Tokyo International University's MBA be the strategic move you need to really engage with the global market?
It's definitely worth considering further using this overview as perhaps a launch pad for your own deeper research.